Okay, today we're going to do a double diagonal fold card. This is what one I made last year, what it looks like. So the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet and you're going to score it at 4 1/4. And then turn it around and score it at 5 1/2. Then we're going to fold it over. I will use my bone fold. I have a bone folder over here that I'm going to use to burnish it down. The paper that I use is a little thick. It's just some paper that I had left over. Then what we're going to do is going to take a cutter. Now this, basically you need a cutter that's a little bigger than the 12 by 12. So if you don't have a cutter that's bigger than 12 by 12, you can always cut it with a scissor or cut it with your craft knife. You're taking from the top, basically the top left-hand corner, diagonally to the bottom right corner, and you're cutting across. So you end up with a piece that looks like this, and that is going to come together like that. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of pattern paper, and you're going to cut 4 by 5 1/4, because that is a standard size mat for a standard size card. And then you're going to cut it diagonally. So when I cut here, you cut your sheet of paper diagonally, just like you would the other one. I'm just going to take it and line it up diagonally, and then cut it like that. Then I'm going to adhere the one piece on each side. This should give you about an 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch around as a border. I'm going to do it this way. It's probably easier if you do it this way. I ripped mine a little bit, but this, for our purposes, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to know how to do it. Okay, so that piece is down. Obviously, I need to put a little glue on the end here. I'm going to take my little art glitter glue, which if you watched any of my other videos, you know this is my favorite. Put it in the corner there. And then I'm going to take this side and do the same thing. Okay, now for the inside, I cut a mat that is 4 by 5 1/4, just like the front of the card. And I'm going to take my Misty, and I'm just going to, before I adhere it down, I'm going to stamp a little flower on the corner, just so there's some kind of a little decorative element. Now, if anybody has a Misty, you don't have to use a Misty. You can just use an acrylic block. I use a Misty because I like it to be right exactly where I want it to go. And I have a habit of not stamping the first image cleanly, so when I use the MISTI, I don't have to worry about that. So then I'm going to ink up this stamp. This is just a stamp that I had laying around, whatever you guys have laying around, or if you don't want to put a stamp, you want to put something else, that's fine. Just so there's a little decorative element in the corner there. Then I'm going to adhere it. And here you can stamp more. I'm just stamping one little flower there. You can stamp more flowers, or you can stamp all over it. You can ink the card if you want to give it a different color. Probably what I'm going to do later is I'm going to color it in with a colored pencil to match the rest of my pattern paper. You could also stamp a sentiment. I don't know what sentiment, whatever you have laying around. I'm not putting a sentiment in here right now because I haven't decided which sentiment I want to use for it yet. And now you just need to put a focal element. What I did with this is because I got them out of the Kaisercraft, one of the Kaisercraft 6.5 by 6.5 pads, and this is the one that has a lot of the sentiments punched out. So I'm used one of those, and then I just die cut a circle. So I'm going to put some phone tape on the back of this and put it so that it's standing up a little bit. Now this, I'm going to take a piece of ribbon. I just took a piece of ribbon that kind of coordinates. And I'm going to adhere it to the back in the middle. So there'll be something hanging down. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to put adhesive on the top half of the circle. But not on the bottom half because I only want it to adhere to one side of the card. I'm going to trim that down, this little ribbon down a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, obviously this one isn't. Now if you wanted to really close it, you could always get a magnet and do a magnetic close, and then it would close completely. This, if you want it to close better, you just need to keep burnishing it down when you fold it. And it'll close a little bit better. But the whole point is that when somebody gets it, they open it up this way. And that's basically it for this simple little card. It's just an extra little special fold that just gives a little extra interest to a card. Thanks for sharing. Bye.